This is the Chapter 24, Section 3, Feature Investigation. So let's dive right into the basics. Cichlids are fish from the family Cichlidae. It's a very large and diverse family. For example, some of the fish range from 1 inch to 3 feet long. There are between 1,300 and 3,000 species, and a new species is discovered annually. It's one of the largest vertebrate families, and it is found in Lake Malawi, Lake Victoria, and Lake Tanganyika with the most diversity. In those places, 1,800 species are found. Pundimelia and Pundimelia nyerere are both part of the cichlid family. They belong to the same genus but are of different species. In certain locations, the two different species interbreed and make fertile offspring. However, in other locations, they act as two separate, distinct biological species. Interbreeding, in case you didn't know, is mating between animals of different species that results in fertile offspring. Here are some characteristics of both of the fish. P. pundimelia is grayish on the top and the sides, and its dorsal fin is metallic blue and red. P. nyerere is red-orange on the top and yellow on the sides. One of their commonalities is that both have black coloring underneath and have black vertical stripes on their sides. An orange monochromatic light can hide their differences in color. Later on, you will learn that the orange monochromatic light was used to the advantage of the researchers in the experiment I will be covering. Here is a picture of Pundimelia on the left and Pundimelia nyerere on the right. As you can see, this is how they look under the orange monochromatic light. As you can see, they both appear the same, and you can barely tell the difference between the two. Courtship. During courtship, the male will swim towards the female and give a lateral display, which is basically what it sounds like. The male will show the side of his body to the female. If the female is interested, the female will swim towards the male, and the male will respond with a quivering motion. Okay, now let's talk about the experiment. The researchers were Ole Seehausen and Jacques van Alphen, and they wanted to know the effects of male coloration in a female's choice in mate. They thought that female African cichlids choose their mates based on the coloration of the males. They used 4 males and 4 females from each different species, 1 large fish tank, 2 small glass enclosures, and an orange monochromatic light. Alright, so here is the procedure, and they put the fish in under these combinations. Pundimelia female with a Pundimelia male and a Pundimelia nyerere male, and a Pundimelia nyerere female with a Pundimelia male and a Pundimelia nyerere male. And they would observe how mating went down between the males and the females under different light conditions, normal versus orange monochromatic lighting. So here's how the fish tank would have looked. Okay. As you can see, you have each male is separated in the glass enclosures. Let's see. one here. And you can see one here. And then the female is in the center. She is not in a glass enclosure. The glass enclosure is just meant to keep the males from fighting with each other physically, therefore not affecting the way the female chooses who she will mate with. So here's the female. Here's one male. And here is the second male. Alrighty. And this is how it would look under the orange monochromatic light versus the previous slide, which was under normal light. As you can see, you can barely tell the fish apart. So the results were that under normal lighting, females were drawn to males that belong to their own species. But under the orange monochromatic light, that preference disappeared, and the females mated with either species. These results show a type of natural selection called diversifying selection. It's a type of natural selection that is in favor of the survival of multiple genotypes that would create multiple phenotypes. Diversifying selection would be found in the places where you would see normal lighting conditions, and you would see that the two species would not interbreed, whereas in places where it would have the orange monochromatic kind of lighting, where it would disguise the different fish's differences, that would be the opposite of diversifying selection. So here is the table of results. It's basically what I said before. And so the conclusion, similar like conditions in their native habitats may be the reason why sometimes they interbreed and sometimes they do not. This type of sexual selection can divide a large population into smaller populations, and eventually those smaller populations would become distinct species. So this was the virtual lecture for the feature investigation in Chapter 24, Section 3. This is Larissa Helen Mahaga Ajala.